Well, welcome everybody. Another fantastic episode of Soul Searching, the Soul Recruitment Podcast. I've got an amazing guest for us today, Razz Khan, and he's going to be talking all about digital marketing for the service industry. Now, Razz has been working in the online space for over 14 years. He has owned and run a number of businesses, such as his own accounting practice, and even a Gloria Jean's coffee shop. He has also worked as a consultant for a legal firm, information technology-based firms, and for an international not-for-profit organization. Razz has now taken all this knowledge and expertise and dedicates himself to helping others in similar businesses apply digital marketing techniques to attract new clients and nurture existing ones. Welcome, Razz.
Darren, how are you?
Very well.
Long time no see.
Yes, it has been a while.
Yeah, you know what? It has been quite a while because I remember 20 years ago, I went into that little office and you interviewed me for the role, and I think I got it. Did I get it?
Yes, you did.
I believe I got it.
Yeah, just for our guests out there, Razz was the first candidate I ever interviewed as a recruiter. And back then we did a lot of work in Lotus Notes, and Razz was a Lotus Notes developer. And we've been friends ever since. And he's now made a slight transition over the last few years, and he's dedicated himself heavily into social media and digital media marketing. And I thought, who better than to bring Razz back to chat about everything he's learned over the last couple of years.
Well, it's funny you say that, Darren. I think everything that I've done in my life has led me to digital marketing.
Right.
I mean, being a project manager, the objective there was to sell the projects to the executive committee.
Yep.
When I was doing development, it was basically to understand the process from start to finish of developing something and bringing to market.
Yep.
When I was working as a consultant, I mean, our sole role was to sell whatever we were doing, or actually get a buy-in more so than sell, because in today's marketplace, nobody wants to be sold anymore. It's all about they want to buy based on their own decision-making. All we do as digital marketers is just help them a little bit along the way.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think everything that I have done so far has brought me to this place here, where I've seen both sides. I've seen the side of basically being an accountant, working for an accounting firm, or working for an IT firm, or dealing with the lawyers and working with coaches, consultants, and then on the other side now, where I've been a customer to a lot of these businesses. So it's great to see both sides, so that I actually understand what the customer goes through and also what the business wants. So I think everything I have done to date has led me to this place here today.
Fantastic. Well, man, I'm really looking forward to this chat, and we're going to be covering some great topics like what exactly is digital marketing? Why is digital marketing so important these days? And how do we apply it particularly to the service industry, which is a little bit of a nuance, which will be really interesting to get into.
Right. Okay. Well, let's start with your first question. I mean, you asked me what is digital marketing, and now I'm a controversial person, so a lot of people may not agree with what I have to say along this process. I just want to throw that disclaimer out there that not everybody is exactly the same.
Yep. Prepare all the listeners. All right, everybody's prepared for Razz.
So digital marketing, really, I mean, let's break it down. Digital, obviously, is anything that's digitized. That could be anything radio, digital radio, television, online, and then marketing. Now, this is where I'm going to say I'm going to be a little bit controversial, because today, a lot of digital marketers blur the line between marketing and sales. Now, to me, basically, the objective for a marketer is to allow the end user to be informed enough to make a decision to do something. That's it. However, nowadays, a lot of digital marketers will define conversion as, well, we'll get them to make a sale as well. Now, in some cases, that does occur, especially with the e-commerce marketplace. But I still believe that the objective of a marketer, digital marketing in particular, is to use digital platforms to better inform the end user, so they can make a more better decision or an informed decision, so that that they're not having buyer's remorse afterwards. That's it. That's really it.
That's something that I've been crystallizing as well. Sales and marketing are two very different things, and digital marketing and digital sales are two very different things.
two very different animals altogether.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
And actually, when it comes to digital marketing, I mean, can you explain, what type of technology are we talking about? Where does the
You know
definition
what? Yeah, that's a really, really, that's a fantastic question. And I'll tell you why. Because as you know, I've been in this industry probably for over 12 years. And I'm going to show my age now. 12 years ago, we didn't have Facebook. We didn't have Twitter. We didn't have, all these other channels. We had banners. We would create banners using Macromedia Flash.
Yeah.
A lot of the people, if a lot of your listeners are younger listeners, they wouldn't have a clue what I'm talking about.
Yep.
The older ones would.
Yep.
And that's how we marketed ourselves, through banners, through blogs. And we were just hoping that somebody out there saw us. And so we would put banners around industries that are very similar to the services that we were offering, in hope that they would click on the banner and then come to us. Today, it is an unbelievably fantastic marketplace to be in right now, because unlike, traditionally where you were just hoping somebody saw you, platforms like Facebook and Instagram, and they've now given you they've done two things really. They've given you the opportunity to actually target, to show your business to people who actually need your services. That's one. Second thing that they've done is they've made it affordable. That's what small businesses don't understand, because our tagline, one of the missions that we have is that basically we want to level the playing field for small business owners against the big players.
Yep.
Because in the old days, if you want to advertise on television or radio, it was a very expensive adventure. So your ROI was pretty much, very small. It was more about just getting, just getting people to know who you were, and that was it.
Yep.
Today, you can actually have people who want you, who need your services or need your products, find you without having to search for you. It's one of the banners that we have on our website, is that it shouldn't be that hard for customers to find you. They should be seeking you. That's really it. That's what Facebook, Instagram, all those, and now it's ridiculous the amount of channels that you have to deal with. You've got Facebook, LinkedIn now is a very powerful tool right now. Pinterest is picking up. TikTok is coming around. Even like GitHub, people don't, there's in certain industries, GitHub is quite big. Reddit is quite huge. So, Quora is all happening. Problem here is that a lot of the small to medium-sized businesses, they don't know what channel to use. What's the most effective channel? Yeah. And it becomes a bit of an issue when you're investing money in there. So that's when people like me, digital marketers, we come in, we find out what your business is, and we tell you, or we advise you what the best channel to use, which is going to have not only the most effective return, but the least amount of cost involved.
And I love that point you just made. Moving away from what digital marketing was before, with just banners, and it was very limited. Now, because of all these platforms, you actually have a way to educate your customers before they become your customers.
That's right.
This is a very different beast we're talking about. And that's why the strategy is very different. Your social media and digital media strategy has to be very different.
And so it's one of the things I noticed in one of your other podcasts, one of the things you said is digital marketing no longer is a nice to have. It's a must have.
Definitely.
And this is what small businesses need to understand, is that it is a must have. If you are not in the digital marketing space today, then your competitors are. It's really that simple.
Yep, 100%. And Gary Vee, I love Gary Vee. And Gary Vee always says, if you're not on social media, you don't exist.
That's right. That's right. I love Gary Vee as well.
Close to it. So it's extremely powerful. But how does digital marketing fit into the broader marketing that might be non-digital? Should companies still do a bit of the old style and mix it with the new? What do you think?
Well, it's a good point. Like, we deal a lot with service industries like accountants and lawyers and all that. And one of the things that I still find interesting is that accountants will still send out a mail out, which we refer to as offline marketing. Yep. A mail out, knowing the fact already that only 3% is the return on that. And so they will pay to get the printing done, to get the copywriting done, to have someone deliver it to people's mailboxes. And they may even align it during the period of end of financial year. But here's the thing, today you don't have to go to people's mailboxes because can I be honest with you? I think the last time I opened my mailbox would have been probably I open it once every 2 weeks.
Yep.
Today I'm relying more on my phone to pick up my messages, my emails, my Facebook feeds. And this is what accountants need to understand, that their customers are waiting for them.
Yes.
And it's so easy to get in front of them. The other thing is also that I was thinking the other day, the cost involved. Now, where I was going to go with this is that basically when you're throwing money into marketing your business, you want to make sure you get the best buck on delivery or conversion.
Definitely.
Why would you want to throw money into something that you sort of have an idea that might work, as opposed to somebody like Facebook, where these people are looking for an accountant?
Yep. And you can track.
One of the other questions I get asked. I'm sorry?
You can also track things. There's more metrics around it.
That's right. Here's the other thing. Actually, you brought up a fantastic point. Thanks to the Pixel and Facebook and even Google Analytics, what it does is it allows us to retarget. So we know what sort of customers are actually interested in our service. And isn't that brilliant? Like, Facebook will turn around and say to us, hey, you know what? We notice that there are these type of people that are coming onto your Facebook page or your campaign. You know what? We know other people, because we've got all the information. We know other people in the industry exactly the same. Why don't we?
I think your sound just went off there, Razz.
Sorry, my phone is ringing.
You're back.
You'll edit that out?
No, that's fine. Continue. That's fine.
I'm a very busy man. I do have to answer that within 24 hours, because one of our commitment is we always respond within 24 hours of any phone call.
Very good. I like it. Awesome, mate. So, we're talking about the difference between digital marketing and the information gathering, the pixel, the metrics around it, versus doing something like letter drops or traditional marketing, where you think or you hope that you might have 3% open rates or 3% response rates, but you don't know, and you're willing to pay for such a low return on investment. So for me, it's a no-brainer, but I suppose maybe there's still a bit of a place for both in certain industries.
Yeah. And the unfortunate thing is that a lot of these businesses that are still run by the older generation still feel that that's probably a more effective approach than coming into the digital marketplace. And one of the reasons, when we speak with a lot of our clients, one of the reasons we tell them to move into the digital marketing space is your traditional clients that you already have are getting older as well. Don't you want to capture the younger market? Because if you want your business to grow or jump to the next level, you have to appeal to the new audience that are coming through. And that's where the biggest problem is, because you get a lot of business owners who sort of go, no, I know how the market is, and I know this works. And you will always get, and we qualify a lot of our customers, because you always get those customers who are content with where they're at the moment.
Yes, definitely.
We understand that, and we don't try and force anything on. We understand that if you're content, stay with it. I mean, it doesn't mean everybody has to be on some sort of digital marketing platform, but if you want to grow your business, it is the only way at the moment.
Definitely. And even though things might be working really well, as we know from history, nothing ever stays the same for very, very long. So things are constantly changing, constantly evolving, and you might be great for 5-10 years, and then all of a sudden your clients have disappeared. So you have to be looking at what's out there, what's new. And another thing that Gary Vee always says is that obviously you have to know where your audience is, but you also have to know who the influencers of your audience are. He loves TikTok, for example. Now, TikTok might not be for everybody, but if you have a particular demographic that you're targeting, say grandmothers, sometimes they can be influenced by daughters and granddaughters. So if you get to them, they can get to the grandmother. So you have to be thinking
That's right.
indirectly as well as just very specifically, where is my audience going to be? It's also where are the influences of my audience going to live?
That's right. That's right. And isn't it incredible? Like, it's exactly what you just said, that, change, to me, I always say the only constant in life is change.
Yep.
Change is inevitable. And so who would have thought 10 years ago there was such a position or role called influencer? No, I mean, I'd never thought that that is actually your job description. And there are a number of people that is their sole job. They get paid to promote products.
Yep, exactly. Yep, fantastic. So now, obviously, this this podcast is quite geared towards employment, job seeking, recruitment. So I wanted to talk a little bit about how digital marketing and digital media and social media fits into the service industry. Are there any nuances that you see that might be a little bit more relevant to the service industry or strategies?
Yeah. I'm glad you asked that, because even recruiters, that's a service-based industry, because you don't have a product, you have a service.
Yep.
Now, here's the thing a lot of businesses need to understand is within the service industry, your customers are paying you for a service with no idea if they're going to get their end result. Would that be fair to say? Like,
Yes.
I mean, for you, for instance, you've got, and we refer to them as avatars, your customers. You've got two different avatars. You've got people that are looking for jobs, candidates, and then you've got organizations that are looking for the right recruiter, or as they call them now, talent acquisition organizations, who understand their business, their culture, who understand what it is, their mission, their vision. And, because that is the whole reason they hire talent acquisition organizations, because they will cull out those people that do not qualify on those things. Yeah. Now, one of the things that if you're going to invest in a recruiting company, you're going to put a lot of money towards the recruiting company to find the right person. And the problem becomes is, how do you choose? How do you know one recruiting organization is better than another? And in the traditional method, it was done on a handshake, as you know. And traditionally, you'd go to the office, you'd have a conversation, you'd do a handshake, and the deal was done. Yeah. So that was the old way of doing, indirect digital marketing. And in part of our training, we actually show you the old and the new. And there's actually three. There's the old and what happened and the way it's been done now. Yeah. But coming back to the service industry, so, let's deal with you. You're going out there, you're looking for companies out there who, you want to prove to them that you're worth the investment, that you will find the right person. Now, when they first meet you, and I live and breathe this, and I say this to everybody, when they first meet you, Darren, I mean, you're incredible energy. You're an absolutely fantastic guy.
Oh, thanks, mate.
And then as soon as they turn around and see a coffee machine, they go, that's an absolutely great, fantastic coffee machine. As soon as they jump into a project, that's an absolutely great project. Okay. The problem is we all suffer from what's called shiny object syndrome. We forget about things, even though they appeal to us in that particular moment. So one of the things is we say to a lot of these service industries, such as, let's keep using your example there. One of the things they're looking for is, are you an expert in knowing who to hire within their industry? And I know that you hire across a mixed different industries, but let's deal with, let's deal with the industry you hired me in, IT. Yep. So one of the things that you'll do is, when you meet them, you will then obviously know who the decision makers are. Once you know the decision makers, the idea is to get them into a campaign where you're sending them information that's relevant within their industry that deals with recruitment. Definitely. So you could have, an information email that goes out and says, when you're looking for somebody within IT, here are some of the cultural differences that you'll find from somebody who's in another industry or service industry or any other industry out there. And what that does is that shows them that you are actually a subject expert in your field. And then you continue that campaign on, and you talk about things such as, some of the things are profiling. I mean, as you know, disc profiling. We do disc profiling. We can determine that if they're a right fit for your organization. And what's happening is you're creating a trust with the organization to say, not only are you a subject expert, and you use terminologies that they would use in IT, We understand managed services, the changes that are occurring in managed services. People are moving into Citrix. So all of a sudden they get more comfortable saying that, you know, this person understands us. It's almost like he's here in the organization.
Yep.
And what happens in those automation emails, and this is a part that's fantastic, is you're not limited to just providing them with information. Within those emails, you've got an opportunity to offer them new services. And one of the things we do for a lot of professional services is underneath the email, there'll be an opportunity to say, hey, why don't you give us a call and do a 45-minute strategy call? You know, let's discuss. Yep. In recruitment, you know, you would say, why don't you give us a call? Let us know what it is that you find frustrating or challenging in the hires that you've hired, and we'll show you how to overcome those.
Yes.
And that's how you create that trust. You create that whole, you know, and you know, you yourself, I remember you would come in all the time. You would make phone calls. You would be there in front of the, you know, every couple of weeks. You'd go in, pop in, how's everything going? You talk to the candidates. Now what's happening is you can automate that process. But not just automate it, you can personalize it.
That's right.
And here's the best part. This is the part that really, really is powerful. When you personalize it, you don't really know what somebody's interested in. So say, for instance, you know, you sort of put out there's a number of workshops where we go over a DISC profile. When the customer clicks on that, we go, you're interested in DISC profiling. So we then put you onto a DISC profiling campaign. So all of a sudden now you're getting information about how DISC profiling works, what you should be looking for in a candidate. We may even give you a checklist, things to mark off, you know, so you're aware of before you go in for the interview itself. And that's a game changer for a lot of people. And not just that, but we personalize it. We go, hey, Joe, we notice you're interested in DISC profiling. You might be interested in this.
Gotcha. Hey,
Bill, we noticed that, you know, you were looking for managed services. You looked up some of our information. You might be interested in some of these candidates that are currently available in the marketplace who have the experience you're looking for.
And just a quick question on that, just for my own interest.
Yep.
Where do those metrics come from? Do they come from when they click on your website or they click on ads? How do you get that information?
You know what? This is why you need a digital marketer, because this is the confusion in the marketplace. I see this all the time. People go, and they try to mix marketing with website.
Right.
And what it is today, 10 years ago, your website was your sales tool.
Yep.
Now, having a nice website without marketing, all it is a nice website.
Yep.
And so marketing is just like a layer that fits on top of your website. It could be autonomous, or it can just blend into the website itself.
Gotcha.
And generally, in today's marketplace, you want to do both. Like, for instance, if you go to our website, you know, we run 3 businesses. So we run a web design business in St. Leonard's. We run a digital marketing business, Thrive Fusion, in the Sydney City. And one of the things that we've done this year is we did it started last year, is we provide free education for businesses to actually implement digital marketing in their own business. We show them.
Oh, great.
You know, I invite people in my Rolodex, people who have experience or are experts in Facebook ads, PR, media, SEO, and business owners can come and learn how to implement what we do into their own business. And one of the things I say to everybody is I'm happy to share exactly how I do what I do. I don't have a problem with that.
Yep.
Coming back to what you were saying earlier, where does this all fit? There's a thing called a sales funnel.
Right.
And the objective for you is to get people into the sales funnel.
Right.
And what you do is you use different social media channels to try and get them into the sales funnel. But like I said, you may have a lot of people jumping into the sales funnel. Like, they'll see an ad, they love it. They go, yeah, exactly. There's my pain point. Yep. And if you can resolve it, I'm going to click on find out how to resolve it. But the problem is they don't know you. And so they don't trust what you have to offer. So that's when digital marketing becomes effective, because we come in the game and we go, listen, we know you don't know us. Let us show you what we're capable of.
Yeah.
You know, and depending on your sales cycle, let us take you on a journey. We refer to it as a customer's journey. Let us take you on your customer's journey to where you want to go. And that's how we create that trust. And the idea is, I don't know if you know what a sales funnel looks like. This comes down. Our job is to get them to squeeze down till eventually it's a conversion.
Gotcha. And all the information that you're gathering along the way through that sales funnel is coming back to you from ad metrics and
That's
other.
right. Well, it depends. It depends. You've got so many different metrics, and so when you first do a marketing plan or a marketing strategy, you determine what is your end goal. What do you want to achieve out of this? And then that will determine which metrics or analytics that you're actually wanting to know. So you can utilize Google Analytics. You can utilize Facebook's Pixel Analytics, and they're great for retargeting. I mean, as I said, Facebook is just brilliant in terms of, hey, you know what? We know what sort of audience that you've currently got coming to you. So we'll pick up other audiences that are very similar to you, liked audiences, custom audiences, that they will do a lot of the AI work for you. And then there's new changes that are coming on board very soon where they do it even better for you.
Wow.
But if you're after more of a sense of, well, we offer, let's come back to IT. We offer managed services. We offer Citrix services. We offer support services. Because you don't know what an organization might be interested in, we then have analytics within what we refer to as an autoresponder.
Right.
An autoresponder is an application that does the automation of the emailing. Gotcha. Because you can't send out 200 emails at once because you'll be considered a spammer.
Right.
So what you do is you add an autoresponder to your campaign, and they've got the power to send out these unlimited emails and capture the information back. So we use, there's so many, again, problem is there's so many of them out there, and most people will use MailChimp when they don't know what exactly they want to achieve out of it. Then you've got other products like Infusionsoft on the expensive side, Aweber on the low side, ActiveCampaign. We use ActiveCampaign because it's pretty much, it's just been recently developed, so we know the code is new, and they're always redeveloping and bringing in new features all the time. We love it. There's Drip as well. It's a great little product. It's just still getting its feet wet at the moment. So once you decide which product you want to use, they will have the analytics for you. Gotcha. And so you can then you can actually then take those analytics and create campaigns around them. Like I said, if you click on a button, we know you've clicked on that button, and therefore we say, if you click on this button, you must like this subject matter. Why don't we throw you into a campaign that has that subject matter, it deals with it, so that you get more information. And like I said, to bring you full circle, a digital marketer's job is to inform, allow the end customer to make a better judgment call based on all the information out there. And this one here I'm going to throw out there, a lot of digital marketers understand this, but businesses don't understand this. And that is, it's no longer about, I know this, I'm going to hold on to this, I'm not going to share it just in case you take it. Today it's about, I will share everything with you so you know what I'm capable of.
Exactly.
And that's the hardest part that we find in the service industry.
Educating and giving information, and
that's it. Enough to make a decision.
As a brand expert, as a subject matter expert, building trust. That's what it's about.
Yep. Spot on. And
here's the thing. Or anything.
Yes. And here's the thing. The whole thing is automated. Right. So you're not out there going, I got to create something else. I got to do this. I got to keep on top of it. We can automate the whole process, so people can enter the campaign at any stage. And that's the best part, is that as your business is growing, other people wanting to know more will enter your campaign, and you don't have to do anything extra.
Gotcha. Wow, there must be so many different tools out there.
There are. We went through trial and error. If I told you some of the trial and errors that we went through, and in each one of these tools has their own expense, and now we have a 7-step process. So we know exactly what to do. We know exactly, we start with who your customer avatar is. We understand everything about your targeted customer, and from there we decide what the best channel is to drive that customer through. From there, we then go through what will be the process. What sort of emails are we going to target them with? What sort of headline? Even a lot of the times it could come down to the subject line of the email that you send out. So we use headline analyzers to see which headline analyzers will work within your industry. And then we look at basically making sure that within the email itself has the ability not just to act as informative, but if your ideal client makes a decision that I want to work with you, you've got the ability to, straight from the email to come in and organize an appointment.
Wow. Because this is all really still a variable. It's all a creative variable, and every little step in the process is important. Even the words you use, the copy,
That's right. That's right.
Content, everything is so important. The visual, and it's trial and
That's
error.
right.
And it's all a creative process.
Yes. And it's funny because, as you know, that's one of the reasons why I gave up accounting, was because you have to have a creative mind. And so it's actually, as I said, it's been a really interesting journey going from accounting, being very analytical, to creative. Yes. And I think that's where the biggest advantage that my firm has, or I do with my team members, is that I've got the ability to swap the brain from left side to the right side very easily.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Razz, have you got any great case studies or anything, any examples that you can share with us?
Okay, let me think, because we're just day in, day out. Well, actually, I do. Let's deal with this one here. Sure. So, one of the biggest problems we have is that the CEOs never want to be involved because they believe that they are busy, and so one of the things we did for a strategy for an organization who were trying to get on board a C-suite people, was that we created an email campaign where we invited the CEOs to a workshop to discuss the financial planning so that you can actually scale your business. Now, a lot of the C-suites executives will go, well, no, I don't need to do that. I'm a CEO level. But what we did was, underneath that on the workshop, we had a small little caption that said, "We understand that you are very busy, which is why we are offering you a one-off 1 hour session, one-on-one session with one of our most senior executives to discuss and plan your business." Now, we knew and we advised the client that no CEO was going to turn up to the workshop. Right. But it was about making them feel special enough that they felt like, yeah, you know what, I am busy and it doesn't cost me anything to meet these people. And then what happened was we went a little step further and we gave them a strategy. When you meet the CEO, the script, we held a script for them. We said, ask them, who does he recommend or she recommend that you deal with? Yes. Because here's the thing, the CEO is going to make a recommendation, then the CEO trusts that particular person. Definitely. So now you've got a contact you can deal with, and you've got already a thumbs up by the CEO on whatever decision that particular contact makes for you. Because a lot of digital marketers will go in the other direction and they'll try and find out who the decision makers are. And that really takes, you can go through a whole campaign and still not be attracting the particular decision maker. Right. So you may get their foot in the door, get in there, and you realize the decision maker is someone completely different to the person who's been receiving all the information, and you've got to start all over again. Right. So we just reverse engineered it a little bit.
Exactly. Yep. Well,
there was 75 leads, and they got 75 conversions. 75 leads, and there were 7 conversions. Right. Okay. Now, 10%. 7 is quite a high number. Yeah. That meant that they were able to get their foot in the door to 7 companies.
Right.
And that's the other thing you have to be aware of, that there is a complete difference between leads and conversions. Absolutely. And so one of the things we do when we sit down with a client in the beginning is we define that. We try and make sure we meet the expectations, because if a lot of you have to get their expectations and come to an agreement on what it is. And I find that that's what the biggest problem is. If a campaign is not going as well as expected, it's because you didn't communicate what the expectations of the other party was.
Definitely. I can only imagine, if people are expecting to triple sales results in 1 month and get in front of 100 new customers, and then that's just not feasibly possible with that campaign, they'll treat that campaign as a failure. But if you educate them beforehand as to what to expect, they'll give you a much longer cycle. They'll
That's
look at
right.
the data in a different way.
That's right. Spot on. Spot on.
Expectations
Yeah.
of what you actually can achieve.
I mean, you did the same. You did the same in your business as well. Like, I mean, when you go out and you speak to them, you build the expectation. You know, this is what the market is at the moment. This is what you will expect we'll get in return, and so everybody understands what's going on.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that's something I learned purely, as I said, everything I've learned to date as a project manager. One of the things is coming in with a status report, and the objective was to ensure that all expectations were met. So that we discussed the risk, we discussed the issues, and so they had an expectation already before I came in again for the next status report.
Definitely. Fantastic. So, I mean, for the audience out there that wants to learn just a little bit more about digital marketing and maybe want to do a little bit of upskilling, how can they go about that? Is there any way? What would you recommend?
You know what? There is so much information out there. You can learn from YouTube. I mean, today YouTube is it's like a free training center.
Yeah.
You can learn through. I mean, there are people. As I said to you, today the market's changed where a lot of digital marketers, in order to prove their subject matter, they will share with you everything that they do and how they do it. And there's even podcasts out there where they will share with you strategies that have worked for their businesses.
Yeah.
And today, as you know, I mean, a podcast is a marketplace that's just exploded.
Yes.
And so you've got podcasts, you've got YouTube, you can buy courses, Udemy courses, Skillshare. There is just incredible amount of free and a small investment information out there that you can actually become a great digital marketer. But here's the only disclaimer I will place on that is you have to understand business. I mean, you have to understand how a business operates rather than coming in there and saying, I know the process. And to be honest with you, the process is probably the easiest part. Implementing a process is the easiest part. It's understanding the business, understanding who are they targeting, and how do we get into the headspace of that particular target
100%.
to make them click a button.
It's all about psychology, really, isn't it?
One of the things, it's interesting you said that because there's a book, I can't remember the author, but it's called Decoded. And it was interesting because one of the things that we used to do probably about 5 years ago was we'd say, we don't know how the market's going to be, so why don't we send them out a survey? And when I was reading the book Decoded, he made a very fantastic point. He goes, there is a difference between wanting and liking. When we do a survey, we will select things we like. Yeah. Sorry, like and need. Yeah. When we do a survey, we select things we like, but they may not necessarily be things we need. So, and to give you, to just go one step further, I was at an event where News Limited were talking about iPads. They would hand over for test clients iPads, and what would happen is as you're reading down the page, the camera would pick up indirect psychological changes such as, the curls of your lips, the smiling, the movement of the eyes. And that gave away that withstanding what you thought you didn't like, your body reacted completely differently. Now, I call that neuromarketing. Yep. It's one of the things that I love at the moment. The more I learn about neuroscience, the more I realize how a person acts in one situation is completely different to how they would really act in that situation. Wow. And so what we do in our digital marketing is not just come in and say, this is what we think will happen. We also think about the neuroscience behind it. Are we actually responding as they expect us to respond? Are we answering their pain points? Are we touching on the right pain points? I mean, they may say price is a pain point for us because you're too expensive, but it may simply be the fact that there is a small feature that you don't have in your system. And if you just found what that little small feature was, you added to your system, price wouldn't be a problem anymore. Right. So to give you an example, I mean, I actually wrote this on LinkedIn the other day about I flew Air New Zealand. And, I love the ad. Don't get me wrong, I love those beautiful ads that Air New Zealand and other airlines do when they showcase their first class with the beds and the TV screens and the food and the wine. But here's the problem. All it took was for me to sit in there and see my name on a small screen. Hi Razz, welcome on board. And that's all it took for me to say, you know what, that personal touch really made a difference. I'll consider Air New Zealand twice now before even price comes into play. And that's what we do. We try and figure out what appeals to that target audience that you can provide that gives you that just that little bit of niche over your competitors.
Perfect.
Because one of the things is we deal with a lot of in the service industry. We ask them, what is your niche? And they go, we provide great support. We provide, we have technical people who understand the problems. And okay, your competitors are exactly the same. They provide great support. They've got great technical team as well. So what is that one niche that makes a difference? Yeah. And that's what we do. We dig and dig till we find that one niche that not only makes a difference to your business against your competitors, but also is appealing to your target audience.
Perfect. I mean, I feel like we've only scratched the surface, Razz. I think it's kind of like an iceberg at the top. There's so much more.
It is a beast. I'll be honest. It is a beast. And there are a lot of people out there going, I know what to do. I know how it works. I'm telling you, the process is the simplest part. It's trying to understand the people behind it. Yeah. We are creatures of habits, but we are also creatures who we don't share what we are actually thinking. Yeah. And so as a digital marketer, my job is to get that out of you. Fantastic. I don't know if you noticed, by the way, that's our mascot back there. As I said, we run 3 businesses. One of the businesses is called Digital Marketing Jungle, and the website is digitalmarketingjungle.com, and where we invite small business owners to get free education or paid education on some of the courses. Right. And so, yes, that's our digital monkey back there.
Love it. How did you get that done?
Sorry?
How did that come about, that artwork?
The artwork? Well, it's funny because if you have a look at the actual print itself, there's multiple colors, and it's a monkey thinking with the headphones on. And so it's trying to pick up not just the older culture of, you're thinking about what you need to do, but the newer culture of, having the Bluetooth headphones, having the beats, on there at the same time as you're thinking. Because that really is our audience today. The Y and the Z generation, that is how they do things. They do not do things of the norm. Like for us, you and I, we would sit in front of a table, sit in front of a computer. They can multitask so well, and the music gives them that creativity that they need to come up with the right decisions.
Definitely. I mean, I always say human behavior has changed, and it will continue to change and evolve at a rapid rate. So now this has been really, really interesting to get a little bit of just a little taste of what social media and digital marketing and media is, and how we can apply it to any industry, but also in particular the service industry, and how we have to take into account the psychology of our audience. So
yes.
There's a lot more that goes into this, but if people want to find out a bit more about your services and get to know a bit more about how you can help them, what's the best way for them to contact you?
Well, you can just get me on Razz, R-A-Z-Z, as in Razzle Dazzle, you know that. There's only one Razz around here. Razz at thrivefusion.com.au. Thrive is in Thrive, Fusion, Fusion.com.au. And as I said, it's a sister company to the Fusion brand, which is our main company. But just email me. And one of the things I want to put out there for everybody is that if you're thinking about a strategy or a strategy is not working, one of the things I'm always happy to do is send me an email, and I'll try and help you as much as I can to get you on board. We've done that many strategies now that, just it's nice to get an opinion from someone who's looking at it from outside the window when you're all, and I literally, Darren did publish an article today on LinkedIn about, working on the business and working in the business. And a lot of people work so much in the business that they never see it from working on the business. And that's when people I come in and I go, I can see it from on the business because I'm not in the business.
Exactly. Exactly. I 100% agree with that strategy. Sometimes you get so focused with what you're doing and you put your goggles on or your blinkers and there's something that you can do that is just a 5mm sidestep, and you didn't even think about it because you're too busy looking.
Can I say, like, when I had the coffee shop, the Glory Jeans coffee shop, I wish I knew all this information now, because back then I was working in the business more so than on the business. And if I had the knowledge that I had today, I don't know. I mean, I think I'd still have the Glory Jeans business working well, because you've got the ability to do all this marketing today that we never had back in the old days.
That's right.
And if you're not taking advantage of it, as I said to you before, if you're not taking advantage of it, your competitors are. It really is that simple.
It's only a matter of time. You have to. There's no choice anymore. It's a must.
No, not at all. Not at all.
But thanks again, Razz. Really appreciate you coming in.
No, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate the podcast. And Darren, as always, the energy you bring to these things is absolutely incredible. You know, I've listened to all the other podcasts. I've listened to Tanya, was great. You've got a lot of great. Who else did I listen to?
All sorts of great guests. All sorts of great topics.
You've got some good,
great guests.
And they're great topics too. They're great topics as well. And the beauty is, and one of the things that I want to do this year as well is bring podcasting through myself as well, to talk about the different strategies businesses can use. But because one of the things is that in the future, Google is now using sound in their search activations. And so what happens is that as you're using, if you're up front, you're early in the marketplace, in the podcast market, in 5 years' time, Google will be able to index what you've said. And therefore, when you're searching for things, it'll pop up.
Definitely. And voice
again, it's another channel you can use to promote your business.
Definitely. And it's only beginning. Technology is going to continue to evolve. Voice is going to be at the forefront of what we do, and who knows what else. So, we have to get on board and start learning the language.
I mean, look at us. We're using Zoom right now. You've got a desktop and I'm using my mobile. Who would have thought 10 years ago we would have been able to do that?
Incredible.
Change is inevitable. And if you're not on board, then you might as well close up shop.
100%. Scary. But thanks again, Razz. Really appreciate it. And
thank you, Dan. No, thank you for your time.
My pleasure. And to all the audience out there, if you're interested in learning a bit more about how digital marketing can help you, get in touch with Razz. And we've got loads of great new episodes coming up very, very soon. So we will see you shortly. Thank you.
Thanks, Darren. Thank you, everybody.